headlines of VTV News. Party General Secretary and State President meets with Party Committee of Foreign Affairs. North-South Expressway construction accelerated before flood season. And later on in our world news, Japan issues emergency warning as powerful Typhoon Shanshan makes landfall.
Broadcasting from Hanoi, the capital of Vietnam. VTV News starts right now.
Hello and welcome to VTV News, broadcast live to you at 3 p.m. local time. You're with me, Lina Phạm, and here's the top news of the hour. Party General Secretary and State President To Lâm and delegates visited the Party Committee of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs over the 79-year history of the revolution, including nearly 40 years of renovation under the party's leadership. Vietnam has made a great strides in building and defending the nation. The country has never been so deeply integrated into the global community or made such significant contributions internationally as it does today. This success clearly demonstrates the effectiveness of the party's foreign policy, highlighting the important role of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in diplomatic efforts. The Party General Secretary and State President expressed high appreciation for the significant achievements of generations of leaders and diplomatic staff. He emphasized 4 key tasks for the coming period: proactively identifying opportunities and challenges, enhancing diplomacy's positive contribution to achieving the party's 100-year strategic goals and the country's centennial, elevating Vietnam's role in global affairs, and expanding Vietnam's contributions to world peace, cooperation, development, and the progress of humanity. The scientific workshop entitled 55 Years of Implementing President Ho Chi Minh's Will in Central Agencies took place this morning in Hanoi. National Assembly Chairman Trần Thanh Mẫn attended and delivered a speech. He affirmed that over the past 55 years, President Ho Chi Minh's thoughts and will have consistently guided the entire party, people, and army. They have remained steadfast and loyal to the revolutionary cause and ideals, successfully continuing the great revolutionary work to which President Ho Chi Minh devoted his life. At the workshop, participants reaffirmed the strong vitality and timeless value of President Ho Chi Minh's will. This recognition is now being transformed into action, inspiring each party organization, cadre, and party member to enhance their self-improvement, practice revolutionary ethics, and build a prosperous country. La Nina is forecast to bring heavy rain and storms in the final months of the year, especially in the central region. This increases the risk of prolonged flooding and landslides, which is unfavorable for the construction of key transport projects like the North-South Expressway. Therefore, to mitigate these risks, construction units are taking advantage of the current favorable weather, concentrating vehicles and human resources to speed up progress.
Tự lập construction company responsible for nearly 4 kilometers of the Hàm Nghi-Vũng Áng Highway to realize their goal of finishing the project before Tết holiday about 10 months ahead of schedule. The unit is accelerating earthwork, foundation treatment, and other construction tasks.
We are focusing on filling the land, completing the road system, and digging drainage ditches so that people can harvest before the rainy season.
At this time, Corporation 319 Ministry of National Defense is also mobilizing 200 vehicles and equipment with more than 400 workers divided into 3 shifts to construct nearly 14 kilometers of highway from Bãi Vọt to Hàm Nghi.
Up to this point, we have completed 96% of the earthwork and are mobilizing 4 production lines to construct the foundation surface and spread asphalt concrete to cover the road surface before the 2024 rainy season.
Units must increase machinery, equipment, and means of transport, work overtime, and take advantage of favorable weather to speed up the project progress.
The North-South Eastern Expressway project, phase 2021-2025 through Hà Tĩnh province, spans over 102 kilometers and comprises three component projects: Bãi Vọt Hàm Nghi Vũng Áng, and Vũng Áng Bung. As per the signed contract, the project is slated for completion in October 2025.
A forum to connect innovative Vietnamese and South Korean enterprises was held in Hanoi on Wednesday. The event was held to promote cooperation and technology transfer, creating a good opportunity for Vietnamese enterprises to seek for cooperation and improve technological capacity in many fields, including artificial intelligence, blockchain, and green technology.
A sensor system collects information about temperature and humidity in apartment buildings. It operates automatically.
Artificial intelligence application solutions help optimize the operation of electrical equipment, saving electricity.
Among the more than 25 smart technology products introduced by South Korean enterprises, there are many notable ones, such as smart healthcare solutions, software platforms for cars, and manufacturing pilotless aircraft. South Korean enterprises are eager to transfer and support Vietnamese companies to innovate technologies, improve production capacity, aiming to meet environmental requirements, and digital transformation.
Open policies, attractive investment environment, large market, these are the factors that help Vietnam attract South Korean enterprises. At this event, we introduced new technologies that are of interest to Vietnamese enterprises, such as artificial intelligence, big data, and smart manufacturing. This cooperation will help Vietnam promote innovation fields in the future.
South Korea is also expecting Vietnamese technology startups to participate in their value chain and their large corporations. It will help bring Vietnamese products to the world. This is also a good opportunity for Vietnamese businesses to cooperate, all for investment and develop the market.
Strengthening cooperation, business, and association with South Korean enterprises will help domestic enterprises better absorb advanced technologies, develop supply chains, and be qualified to participate in the global value chain.
The decrease in sea freight rates has helped boost import-export activities in August, according to the Vietnam Maritime Administration. Currently, the sharpest decline is on routes from Asia to the U.S. West Coast and Europe, with a decrease of about 20 to 30% compared to the same period last month. The current price is about $6,300 per 40-foot container. On average, freight rates are decreasing by about 3 to 4% each week compared to the previous week. According to the Vietnam Maritime Administration, this is a positive signal for the sea freight market, offering many benefits to businesses, especially in booking and increasing operational efficiency. However, companies should continue to closely monitor the situation as the year-end peak season approaches. The reduction in freight rates and the positive growth in exports of various goods are creating momentum for seaport development. At Chi Minh Port in Thừa Thiên Huế province, container ships are continuously arriving. Thanks to improved customs clearance procedures, import and export activities of domestic and foreign enterprises are flourishing.
The RCL Thailand container ship has just docked at Chi Minh Port in Thừa Thiên Huế province. Chi Minh Port has been providing container services for nearly 2 years and has connected with a number of domestic and foreign shipping lines. It is expected that in 2024, this port will receive nearly 650 ships with a total cargo volume of more than 5 million tons, an increase of more than 30% compared to the previous year.
We signed with 4 international shipping lines and 3 domestic shipping lines, creating conditions for businesses to import and export by sea.
To meet the needs of imports and export activities, Thừa Thiên Huế province has implemented various policies to support shipping lines and businesses. These include increasing investment in infrastructure, expanding warehouses, and synchronizing equipment.
Infrastructure is very important, so the port has invested in warehouses and container yards that meet international standards to satisfy customer needs.
With 3 wharfs totaling 910 meters in length, Chiang Mai Port can handle 5 to 6 million tons of goods annually. Along with sourcing goods from countries in the region, it's forecast that by 2030, the volume of goods passing through Chiang Mai Port will reach approximately 20 to 25 million tons per year.
And before we move to the next part of VTV News, let's check out the foreign exchange rate. Coming up next, Vietnam removes bottlenecks in developing agricultural tourism. And Khánh Hòa looks to attract more Indian tourists. The Ministry of Culture, Sports and Tourism hosted the National Press Award ceremony for the development of culture, sports and tourism. Deputy Prime Minister Lê Thành Long attended and presented awards to the authors. The awards aim to highlight achievements in culture, sports and tourism development, showcase exemplary figures in the field, and encourage industry professionals to continue contributing to these areas. By June the 20th, the awards had received 920 entries across 5 categories: photo reportage, radio, television, print, and online newspapers. The jury selected 99 works for the final awards, including 5 first prizes, 15 second prizes, 25 third prizes, and 51 runner-up prizes. The 2024 land law, which took effect on August the 1st, has removed many obstacles to attracting investment in agricultural tourism. Many farmers now share a common concern: how to quickly access policies to confidently invest in this sector. Currently, agricultural tourism in Vietnam lacks a comprehensive development direction and hasn't truly become one of the 5 main product lines as outlined in the Vietnam Tourism Development Strategy.
A forum was recently held by the National Agricultural Extension Center in Khánh Hòa Province to discuss solutions for developing agricultural tourism. Despite its potential, agricultural tourism remains obscure even in the country's tourist hubs. Farmers participating in the forum shared a common concern. They are eager to invest in agricultural tourism but lack the know-how to proceed.
It's really hard to get through all the paperwork needed to build tourism facilities. We are fine as soon as we start something.
Farmers' concerns were addressed on August 1st this year when the 2024 land law took effect. Article 218 stipulates that agricultural land can be used for commercial and service purposes. This change enables farmers to confidently combine agriculture with tourism. To attract investors, orchards like this must include amenities that enhance convenience. Farmers can only invest when policy bottlenecks are removed.
We can understand that local people can use agricultural land for other purposes, such as commodities and other tourism facilities. That's a new direction for farmers.
Across the country, many agricultural tourism models have yielded success. However, experts note that these activities are mostly small-scale and lack a common direction. While building policies to support farmers in finance, planning and communication is crucial, one feasible solution is to strengthen connections between farmers and travel agencies in developing agricultural tourism.
We promote the connection between people and travel agencies in localities that have policies and plans for tourist destinations.
Forecasts show that by 2030, green tourism, including agricultural tourism, will become the dominant trend. Therefore, developing policies to promote agricultural tourism is a strategic way to seize new opportunities.
Chairman of the Bạc Liêu Provincial People's Committee has issued an urgent order for an emergency project to address landslides along the East Sea Dike in Vĩnh Trạch Đông Commune, Bạc Liêu City. This decision aims to protect the dike section bordering Sóc Trăng Province and ensure the safety of nearby households and their livelihoods. The project cost is estimated at 1.5 billion Vietnamese dongs. Construction units with sufficient capacity have been mobilized to carry out the project. Recently, high tides combined with strong waves caused landslides along a 100-meter stretch of the East Sea Dike in Vĩnh Trạch Đông Commune, reaching depths of 1.5 meters. In the near future, high tides coupled with large waves and strong winds are expected to cause more severe landslides to the dike slope and body. Another Vietnamese architectural design firm has just won 2 international awards consecutively. These are the Green Good Design Award and the 2024 International Architecture Award. These are the most prestigious awards in the global architecture field. More in the following.
After just nearly 3 months from idea to completion, it has become a true rest and relaxation place for tourists when visiting the Vietnam Museum of Ethnology. The small and pretty space was renovated based on the idea of a small tea shop under a heritage banyan tree. It aims to recreate a familiar traditional image of the Vietnamese countryside, which is banyan tray, well-communal house yard.
Investors and the design team came up with solutions to implement a project that meets the following goals. It must be in harmony with the natural landscape of the Vietnam Museum of Ethnology. Natural, environmentally friendly materials must be used. The use of traditional materials must honor the core values of Vietnamese culture.
When renovating this service area, much of the old building was retained to minimize construction waste and save costs. The space has expanded in many directions. Guests can still enjoy the view of the museum. From the outside, people can see the interior of the restaurant with typical motifs of different ethnic groups of Vietnam.
We renovated and expanded this space by embracing the tree roots, using the tree trunk as the core. We embraced the entire project with a system of earthen walls. We used materials that can be recycled. The project has a new look and it will be in harmony with the surrounding cultural works.
In addition to serving Vietnamese cuisine for tourists, this restaurant is also used as a place to display, teach, and practice Vietnamese handicrafts.
For a museum to create its brand, it is not only the content of the exhibition, but the services in the museum are of crucial concern. They must directly serve the needs of visitors. That is mandatory, and this architecture comprehensively not just meets the spiritual aspect, but also the service and material needs of visitors.
The Vietnam Museum of Ethnology has remained a popular destination for tourists to learn about Vietnamese culture. Investment in service infrastructure can help the museum score more points with visitors.
To meet increased travel needs during the September the 2nd holiday, Hanoi's bus stations have planned to boost trip frequency and implement various solutions for convenient travel. Additionally, to ensure passenger safety, the city's functional forces have intensified inspections and are handling violations.
Functional forces are focusing on the safety conditions of vehicles, drivers, firefighting equipment, and escape routes on passenger buses, in addition to raising awareness and enforcement. They're also addressing minor violations such as misplaced emergency hammers or drivers not wearing uniforms.
In general, we still have shortcomings. The authorities have reminded us, and we will do our best to fix them. The car is still missing in an escape hammer and some parts of the seatbelts.
Up to this point, the bus company has largely complied with regulations on journey monitoring cameras and driver identification cards before the trip to the directorate of roads. We will check and verify the departure order. If any vehicle fails to meet the conditions, we will firmly prohibit its departure.
During this period, authorities are inspecting and monitoring all Hanoi bus stations, namely Mỹ Đình, Nước Ngầm, Giáp Bát, Gia Lâm, and Yên Nghĩa. Besides direct station inspections, they're also increasing oversight of all bus company trips through journey monitoring devices.
Through the journey monitoring device, we'll track drivers' time and activities on the road after vehicles leaving the station. We will particularly focus on bus operators' service attitudes toward passengers, including neat and clean uniforms and polite behavior, to ensure people board buses safely.
The Hanoi Department of Transport has asked the Inspectorate to intensify inspections on transport businesses' compliance with legal regulations. They will strictly penalize organizations and individuals who break the law. In addition to station inspections, authorities will resolutely handle vehicles that deviate from designated routes, exceed passenger capacity, make unauthorized stops, or load and unload goods at improper locations.
The Hue Monuments Conservation Center has announced that it will offer free admission to Vietnamese citizens and tourists for visits to the historical sites within the complex of Hue Monuments on September the 2nd in celebration of National Day. The free visiting hours will run from 7 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. on September the 2nd. Historical sites within the complex of Hue Monuments offering free admission to Vietnamese citizens and tourists on this day include Hue Imperial City, the Tomb of Emperor Gia Long, the Tomb of Emperor Minh Mạng, the Tomb of Emperor Tự Đức, the Tomb of Emperor Thiệu Trị, Tomb of Emperor Đồng Khánh, An Định Palace, Hòn Chén Temple, Hue Royal Antiquities Museum, and more. For this national holiday, Thừa Thiên Huế expects to welcome 120,000 visitors. Meanwhile, Da Nang will organize about 50 programs, events, and festivals for residents and tourists. Approximately 500 flights are expected to arrive in Da Nang during this period. On Wednesday, Hanoi welcomed 4,500 Indian tourists, the largest delegation of Indian tourists ever to visit Vietnam. The Vietnamese tourism industry is making efforts to meet the needs of visitors from this market. Also on Wednesday, a conference to promote tourism between India and Khánh Hòa province was held.
India has a population of over 1.4 billion people, with approximately 25 to 35 million Indian traveling abroad annually. Indian tourists are known for their high spending habits, typically staying for 5 to 7 days and enjoying visit to multiple destinations.
I like the people and landscape here. I have several plans in mind and will come back here with attractive tour packages.
At a conference promoting tourism between India and Khánh Hòa, attended by nearly 200 tourism businesses, various solutions were proposed to connect and boost tourism links. Priority was given to facilitating travel, as there are currently no direct flight from India to Khánh Hòa.
To establish a direct flight route to Nha Trang, charter flights will pave the way, followed by the introduction of commercial flights.
Several units have proposed establishing a direct flight route between Nha Trang and major Indian city. The Indian Consulate General in Ho Chi Minh City has pledged to work closely with airlines from both countries to make this direct flight route a reality soon. Given their many similarities, Khánh Hòa and India plan to collaborate on developing attractive tourism products.
We will facilitate collaboration between tourism businesses of both countries to develop specialized products such as resort, MICE, spiritual, and wedding tourism. With its modern hotels, resorts, and high-quality services, Nha Trang can fully meet the needs of organizing luxurious and impressive wedding ceremonies for Indian tourists.
Khánh Hòa will also collaborate with Indian businesses, directors, and artists to produce cultural and cinematic work showcasing Khánh Hòa culture and tourism. This initiative begins with the movie Love in Vietnam, the first film created through diplomatic cooperation between Vietnam and India.
Coming up next in our world news, Japan issues emergency warning as powerful Typhoon Shanshan makes landfall. And Poland to boost defense spending to a record high in 2025. Southwestern Japan was hit on Thursday by heavy rain and very strong winds as Typhoon Shanshan made landfall in Kyushu Island. The typhoon bringing gusts of up to 252 kilometers per hour and torrential rain has left more than 250,000 households in 7 prefectures without power and lashed Kyushu with gusty winds, torrential rain and dangerous storm surges. Japanese authorities have warned that the storm could be one of the strongest ever to hit the region, and local governments have issued evacuation orders for millions of residents in several prefectures. Slower storms like Typhoon Shanshan can be more destructive, with strong gusts or rainstorms that pound the same areas for hours or days. The Japan Meteorological Agency warned that up to 1 meter of rain could fall in Kyushu over 24 hours. Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk said on Wednesday that Poland is set for next year's budget that would include a record defense spending of $48.7 billion. The proposal will constitute 4.7% of the country's GDP compared to 4.2% this year, which already made Poland a leader in NATO in defense spending. Poland is also the only NATO member that spends more than 4% of GDP on defense. Environmental campaigners have taken the European Commission to court, seeking to force the European bloc to upgrade its emissions rules for 2030 and, in a second case, scrap rules that label some planes as climate-friendly investments. In a case before the Court of Justice of the European Union's General Court, 2 non-profit groups argue that national limits on greenhouse gas emissions for sectors such as transport and agriculture, which require EU member states to cut their emissions in those sectors between 10 and 50% from 2005 levels, are unlawful. The campaigners said the thresholds would fail to cut Europe's planet heating emissions fast enough to meet the Paris Agreement's goal. A second case seeks to force the EU to revise rules, adding aviation to the list of investments eligible to receive green finance from investors and banks. The campaigners said the EU was greenwashing by labeling planes and ships running entirely on fossil fuels as climate-friendly. And now let's take a look at the weather forecast. And that's it for this edition of VTV News. Thank you very much for watching. To rewatch our program, you can download VTVgo from App Store or Google Play, or tune in our YouTube channel at youtube.com/VTV4Go. Goodbye for now.